What if the silence you're trapped in is not a punishment, but a setup for revelation so deep it will change everything? You keep asking why God has pulled you away from the people, the places, the platforms, but the truth is, isolation is the womb where divine clarity is conceived, and God removes distractions not to punish you, but to prepare you to hear Him like never before. The hidden season is not a delay, it's a download. Moses didn't hear God's voice in the palace. It was in the wilderness, alone with sheep and dust, that he encountered the burning bush and received the calling that would shift a nation. Elijah didn't receive his next instruction on the mountain of victory. He heard God's whisper in the cave, alone, broken, hiding from Jezebel, where the noise of the world was finally drowned out. And Jesus, even Jesus, withdrew to lonely places to pray, because the crowd will always cheer your miracles, but only isolation can sustain your mission. If you feel shut out, ignored, or spiritually quarantined, understand this. God isolates those He wants to elevate because not everyone can be trusted with what He's about to reveal to you. There are secrets, divine blueprints, supernatural insights that cannot be downloaded in the company of compromise. That's why the invitation stopped. That's why your phone is dry. That's why the doors that once flew open now seem to be sealed shut. God isn't blocking you. He's building something in you that requires silence to shape it. And here's the warning. If you try to rush out of isolation, you'll miss the revelation. You'll end up with man's opinion instead of God's vision. The enemy wants you to feel like isolation is evidence that God has forgotten you. But that's a lie. The desert is where God speaks clearest because there's no one else left to drown Him out. He separated you to secure your focus. He allowed the loneliness so He could reset your identity, strip away what you thought you needed, and show you who you really are. Romans 8 verse 28 is not just about making pain work for your good. It's about recognizing that even divine silence is strategic. What looks like abandonment is actually alignment. God is making room in your spirit so He can fill it with something weighty. He's downloading purpose that your previous circle wouldn't understand. That's why you felt disconnected from people you used to relate to. That's why their conversations bore you now. You've outgrown shallow waters because God is calling you into the deep, and the deep requires isolation. When John was exiled on the island of Patmos, it looked like the end, but it became the beginning of revelation. Alone, with no pulpit, no platform, no audience, just him and God. And what he received is still shaking the world centuries later. You've been asking God for clarity, for answers, for direction, but clarity doesn't come in chaos. It comes in the cave, in the dry place, in the sacred silence that feels empty until you realize it's holy ground. So instead of resisting the isolation, start listening. Stop scrolling for confirmation when God's trying to give you revelation. Stop begging to be seen when He's trying to make you discern. This season may be hidden, but it's not wasted. It's where you learn to hear God for yourself. Walk by faith without applause. Obey without explanation. That's where the anointing becomes unshakable, when you no longer need validation to know you're chosen. So here's your challenge. Embrace the silence. Welcome the solitude. Because when God finally speaks, it won't just answer your questions. It will unlock your assignment. What you carry is too important to be birthed in noise. Let Him finish the work in the dark. Let Him whisper secrets that will light fires in others once your time comes. The crowd may have forgotten you, but heaven is watching closely. Isolation is not your burial, it's your incubation. Let God finish what He started.